Throughout the 1940s and 50s, the Caribbean island of Cuba had been America's playground. Beaches, booze, and casinos. Havana had it all. Cuba's land and industry were owned almost entirely by American corporations. Cuba's leader, Fulgencio Batista, was a brutal dictator.
The triumph of the revolution was an example of order. There was no looting. No one was dragged along the streets.
There was the realization that there was absolute lawlessness and chaos going on in Iraq.
Think what's happened in our cities when we've had riots and problems and looting. Stuff happens.
We filmed these GIs after they caught a group of Iraqis stealing wood.
We try to stop them from looting, they don't understand, so we'll take their car and we'll crush it. United States Army, tankers, who? That's what you get when you loot.
Later, the car's owner told us, "I'm a taxi driver. The car was my livelihood."
There were no murders, no crimes. The revolution promised to provide jobs for the people. It promised honesty in the administration, which had never existed in Cuba. There were health programs, which had never existed before. Education programs, which had never existed before.
Good evening, my fellow citizens. This government, as promised, has maintained the closest surveillance of the Soviet military buildup on the island of Cuba.
Most important of all, Castro nationalized millions of acres of land held by American companies and gave it to the people.
Can't we agree that capitalism is an economic system, a system for the production and distribution of things we need and want?
And at the same time, we've been taught that what makes you valuable is not what God says you are, but what you possess. So what you wear and where you live and what you drive makes you feel like you're valuable. And society tells you you're valuable. So if I have an attaché case, I'm more valuable than a man who has come from working in a job on the street with overalls.
How much debt have you racked up?
I'm about 17,000 right now.
And the society tells you you're more than or less than because of what you wear and how you live and where you live.
A lot of it's money that I don't have.
So why do you do it? How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel, alive and like I can have anything. I'm as good as anyone else.
So I find a lot of people are trying to kind of find their identity through shopping or through image. Who am I? Where do I belong?
And at BMW, we don't just make cars, we make joy.
This is a growing issue. Don't look to the media for your self-image. Like yourself, love yourself, and know yourself.
Amen.
It gives me a great deal of satisfaction to represent two outstanding shopping centers in California, the shopping hub of the San Gabriel Valley in West Arcadia, and the Whittier Quad Shopping Center in Whittier, California, because they are concrete expressions of the practical idealism that built America. When you visit these two fine shopping centers, you'll find more than 80 beautiful stores with sparkling assortments, an attractive atmosphere, and of course, plenty of free parking for all the cars that we capitalists seem to acquire. Who can help but contrast the beautiful, the practical settings of the Arcadia shopping hub and the Whittier Quad with what you'd find under communism?
See, I think there are two ways in which people are controlled. First of all, frighten people, and secondly, demoralize them. An educated, healthy, and confident nation is harder to govern. And I think there's an element in the thinking of some people. We don't want people to be educated, healthy, and confident because they would get out of control.
Maybe we should talk about what it is not. It is not a system of strict governmental control and planning in which a dictator or board tells people what jobs they may hold and what goods they may produce. And it's not a system of government ownership. Let me tell you about something.
my mother was a Bible scholar, and every day we read the Bible, and she taught me something that's made a huge influence on my life. She said the Bible is the story of the kings who had power and the prophets who preach righteousness. And she taught me to support the prophets and not the kings. It's got me into a lot of trouble in my life, but it makes an awful lot of sense today, because Jesus did. He preached justice. And I think justice, which is a moral question, is much more important than profitability or strength or weakness. And, of course, the most powerful religion of the world today, as you know, is not Judaism, Christianity, or Islam. It's the people who worship money.
The market is a very sophisticated mechanism. Sometimes it goes up, and sometimes it goes down. When there's more greed than fear, it goes up. When there's more fear than greed, it goes down.
So you're saying the banks have been too greedy?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. The opposite is the case. The banks have always been noted for their public spiritedness, for having the interests of the poorest in mind.
Have they? I must have missed that.
Oh, no, certainly. Over the last few years, the banks have been saying to themselves, we've lent all the money we can to people who've got some assets and some prospects. How can we start lending to people who haven't got any money or prospects or any hope of paying it back?
It seems like it benefits the system if the average working person is shackled with debt.
People in debt become hopeless, and hopeless people don't vote.
We're asking parents to love their children who don't even love themselves. Parents, take time with your child while that mother is working 12 and 14 hours a day, trying to keep a roof over the child's head, trying to put food on the table.
Capitalism? Well, why should there be any question about it? Hasn't it given us the highest standard of living in the world?
We have to transform a society that's conditioned us to be selfish, to have things, to be disconnected, and then blame the parent when we pulled every resource from the parent away and has a mother struggling just to live, just to not be in a shelter. And we say, now, take care of it yourself. And she's crying for help. And then when that child is arrested, we blame the mother. The mother said, I asked you for help and you turned your back.
Modern man suffers from a kind of poverty of the spirit, which stands in glaring contrast to his scientific and technological abundance. We've learned to fly the air like birds. We've learned to swim the seas like fish. And yet we haven't learned to walk the earth as brothers and sisters.
So like nearly everybody else, you lost a great deal of money on property and derivatives.
A colossal amount of money. But there is a silver lining to it all, if you look hard enough.
Is there?
Yes, luckily I lost other people's money and not my own.
We're a society that says, live for me. We have become our own gods. And so we live this selfish society where we become golden calves unto ourselves, and we've been conditioned that way. Take care of me.
He carries with him a meaning, a signification, which is of tremendous importance to people like ourselves who are the marginalized of the world.
In 1975, as Angola moved towards independence from Portugal, the CIA, along with the apartheid government of South Africa, tried to bring down the new Angolan government. At the request of the Angolan president, Fidel sent 36,000 troops to keep the South African forces from attacking Luanda, the capital. For many Cubans, whose ancestors were African slaves, the fight in Angola was a way to repair a debt to history.
Cuando se produce la invasión de Angola por tropas regulares de África del Sur, no podíamos cruzarnos de brazos. Y cuando el MPLA solicitó nuestra ayuda, le ofrecimos la ayuda necesaria